how to live sustainably on this planet and just keep digging new mines to make more and more stuff that we just throw away. It's not sustainable.
Elin, thank you very much for joining us in the IFA 2023 podcast live in Berlin. How are you doing today?
Good. Very well, thank you.
How was your journey over and everything?
Well, I took the train. It was good. A bit long, but yeah.
Train all the way from Stockholm?
Yes.
Like the old sleeper?
Yeah, try to do it sustainably, I mean.
Yeah, it's the best way. Yeah, it's always so hard. I would love traveling by train, but it's one of those things I just really wish they could push the prices down of it a little bit, because it's so hard sometimes with flying when it's so quick and cheap to get between those places.
Exactly.
So for people who might not know you, can you give a little bit of background on what it is you do and your company and everything?
Yeah, sure. So my name is Elin Bergman. I run 2 circular economy business networks. So one is in Sweden. It's called Cradlenet. It's one of the oldest circular economy networks in the world. We started already in 2009. So even the definition of circular economy didn't exist at the time. And in 2018, I started a Nordic circular economy organization called Nordic Circular Hotspot. So I'm one of the co-founders of that.
So let's begin on like a super base level. What is the circular economy?
Well, I always talk about where the economy we're living in that, at the moment. And it's not circular, it's not sustainable, it's linear, which means that we basically create a lot of things, products and things out of unsustainable materials. It could be fossil fuels or fossil materials, and they're made to not last for such a long time. So we make things, we're making also out of really bad energy, fossil energy, and then we just throw them away basically after a short time, which creates a lot of problems because we have these garbage dumps and it creates environmental problems. And also we run out of materials and resources. In the circular economy, we kind of design things differently. So they're made to, first of all, be of already recycled materials, of sustainable energy. And it's also made to last for a long time or be repaired and upgraded and refurbished and so on. And once the materials are worn out, you can't use the product anymore, then you recycle it back into the economy. And it's all about keeping the value as high as possible, not only of the product but also the materials. And also it's about more of looking at what we actually need. We don't need so much stuff. What we need is usually a way to transport ourselves from point A to point B, not owning a car. So it's a bit different of how to think of what we need basically in society and how we can do it as efficiently as possible. Yeah,
so that of course sounds absolutely fantastic, but often with these wonderfully elegant concepts, reality has a way of kind of bumping into that. So what are the first steps then on building a sustainable economy? Does it need to come from regulation? Is it consumer choice? How do we begin getting into a situation where, let's use an example of a pair of shoes. How do we get to a situation that rather than these just being something that are thrown, made out, made, worn, broken, thrown out, how do you make it then they become a full circular product?
The interesting thing is that everything used to be fully circular like 100 years ago. We'd make shoes to last generations, basically. So throwing away a pair of shoes, you never did. Someone inherited it, and they were made to be repaired and upgraded and things.
Heirloom
you changed
shoes.
the sole, and then we forgot about it. So now we just make things to be, used for a short time and thrown away. So we just forgot. We need to remember what we did before and kind of make it into the new modern version. There were ways to earn money and make profit before. We can do it again. We just need to relearn things. So, and also now, when it comes to regulation, you said, should it be consumers? Should it be policy? Who should move first? The thing that's happening right now, we're in a climate crisis. So that means we don't have so much time left. And that means everybody has to do everything to change everything. Because if you go into a circular economy, we're going to save up to 70% of the global carbon emissions because we're so much more resource efficient. So, right now we don't have a choice. We just have to do everything.
Yeah, not picking. I guess one way is thinking of it more like a house, right? Who knocks down a house and builds a new one. It's there, I live in Amsterdam, the house I live in has been there since the 1800s and of course has been renovated and upgraded. But, it's not like you knock down a house every day and then, build a new one 10 years time.
Yeah. So, and that's a great example, actually. The best circular thing is the one that lasts forever. So the Amsterdam house is very circular. Actually, it has a slow circle, and it creates a great value over a long time. And the value of that house just goes up, right? It doesn't go down.
Well,
So
hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully. But if you make really good high quality things, like a Rolex watch, for instance, it's very expensive when you buy it, but it lasts for a long time and it actually gains value. So that's how we should think about the circular economy. How can we keep the value as high as possible or even make it higher?
So what are the first things then that need to be looked at? Like, is it electronics? Is it clothing? Where are the areas? I know you said, of course, that we need to do everything at the same time, but, in terms of a step plan, where are the first regulations? Where should they be focused on? Where can we make the most difference in this shift to a circular economy?
Well, right now, the European Union has already made a circular economy action plan, and everybody should be, adapting to already, and that affects the world, basically. And in that, there is electronic goods. It is,
right to repair.
food, construction, all of these. So it's not a choice anymore. It's like everybody needs to move, whatever happens. It's even a law that you have to, from next year, start reporting. It's as important as you do the financial reporting. So in your annual reports, all the large companies next year need to disclose and report on not only climate, carbon emissions, but also biodiversity, it's water and marine resources, it's pollution, and circular economy. So it's mandatory, and you get punished if you don't do it. So, and then it's going to be the mid-sized companies and the small-sized companies, and even companies that import to the European Union. So that will affect the planet.
One of the things about the circular economy is you pay more and you get a higher product in return for that. But we're also going through a cost of living crisis at the minute. So what do you think is the best way to help and manage people who are maybe on the breadline or poverty level and buying the cheapest clothes possible, the cheapest shoes possible, simply because they have no other option? How do you ensure that they're able to participate and be part of the circular economy and not effectively left out by this shift that isn't for good, of course, but on a personal level, that these are tough times for many people?
Yeah, that's a beautiful part about circular economy, because it's the poorest people that's been driving the circular transition faster than everybody else. They didn't know that it was circular economy. The secondhand vintage stores, for instance, it's cheaper to buy secondhand clothes. It's very circular. So that's like one thing to do. And the other thing is that it's about the sharing economy. We share the resources. You don't have to buy a car. You can't afford to buy a car, but you can share with other people. You don't have to buy the car. You just use it when you need it. So carpool sharing, for instance. So there's a lot of solutions that actually makes the planet more fair. And we always talk about, okay, the resources are going to run out. For instance, we only have 30 years of copper left in the middle of a climate crisis where everybody needs to change to an electric car. And, if you looked at the old cars, the gas cars, they had like 12 kilos of copper in them. In an electric car, there's 200 kilos of copper. Where's the copper coming from? So we need to start sharing the resources, because we can't make it otherwise. And that will also make, the society more equal, because everybody can utilize these sharing products in a better way. And we have all the resources we need. We just need to share it better and share, make it more equal.
So then do you think there's an industrial capacity that's needed as well? So there's more built up recyclable factories, more areas, more resource and R&D effectively put towards making these like massive industrial centers where, you can take old things, because there's billions of tons of e-waste generated every year, for example, that's just thrown in landfills. So you think there needs to be like an industrial approach to reclaiming a lot of that?
Yeah, and also I think the beautiful thing right now is the banks and the financial institutions are really waking up to the circular economy. There was this bank, HSBC, is one of the biggest banks in the world. They made a report looking at the possibilities and benefits of circular economy, and they saw that it's $25 trillion sector by 2050.
But the financial industry was rubbing their hands together.
Yeah, they're
at
like,
that
oh
figure.
my God, there's like an untapped possibility here and sector. So, I mean, if the banks are starting to wake up to this and see, we have problems with, we can't just keep mining and mining and mining. We have the planetary boundaries that we have to think about, the sustainability boundaries, what the planet can, what it can endure, basically. So we already kind of hit the roof of the climate impact boundary and pollution boundary and biodiversity boundaries and so on. So we need to figure out how to live sustainably on this planet and just keep digging new mines to make more and more stuff that we just throw away. It's not sustainable. So we know this now, and the circular economy is like, how can we take whatever we called garbage or waste and see that's just precious resources that we've been throwing away for 100 years. Now they're looking into the value of those, especially the electronics, for instance. Mm-hmm. There is more gold in electronic waste dumps than there's actually in mines. So we need to mine that. So, and there's also a very big untapped possibility there.
So in an ideal world, if you look 20, 30 years into the future, how has society changed? Where are we? Where would be your gold path? If you can look at a direction and say, that's it, that's where we can get to and where I want to get to, what does that society look like?
Oh, that's a great question. I love this. No, because I think it's really, we're lacking a vision of how fantastic the future will be.
Agreed. We've lost this vision of utopia, right? If you look at movies, they're always dystopian. There's very little art put on the vision of what we can become. It's always what we're worried about becoming.
Yeah, but we have one, which is amazing. Wakanda, for instance, beautiful. It's all sustainable. They have this weird kind of energy source that we don't have. But I think we can kind of become Wakanda planetary if we want to. So basically, I mean, just to give a good example, we have Netflix and we have Spotify, right? I don't think many people would like to go back to when we had those plastic CDs and DVDs and go to a video store and look at, what you want and you rent it and then you take it back. It's like a big thing. And you used to have, whole living room full with DVDs and they got scratches and you have to buy new ones and stuff. I mean, these apps changed the world, basically. You have all the music, all the films and videos and series in your pocket. They just made your life better. And I think it's going to be the same when it comes to cars and houses and infrastructure and how we consume things. It's going to make life more easy when you don't have a lot of stuff that just basically owns you like we have today. We have our basements and our cellars full of crap we don't even know what it is that just gives you anxiety. So we don't have to have that in the future. We just need, it's kind of like a need basis. Like when I need a car, I will order it. It will come and it will get me. I can drink my wine. I can drink, I can go at party. It would be just cars that are self-driving that will take me to where I want to go. It's going to be easier. It's going to be so much better. And I mean, we won't have a problem, basically. Hopefully we'll have nice and good AI as well helping us on this, not evil. But yeah, so it's all about like houses. For instance, if we're going to build houses circular, it's about modularity. So we should have houses that are more flexible. Right now we build infrastructure to last a long time. But when you need to, if you have other needs, then we basically tear the building down and we have concrete and things that we just throw away. But those are also precious resources. So we need to build everything modular so we can just move that whole house if we want to, or make it in from a living, maybe apartments or something, or you live in to offices or whatever else buildings you need. We need to build everything more flexible. And they're going to probably also regenerate their own energy. It's going to be biodiversity hubs. You can even grow your food on and in the houses. They're going to recycle their own rainwater, also take the nutrients out of your toilets to grow food again. So it's all going to be this kind of living, more flexible parts that also help climate and mitigates pollution and creates like circular water systems and so on.
Kind of like a sustainable Lego world where you can just drop in little bits and pieces.
Exactly.
Man, I want to live in one of those houses.
Yeah, me too.
Thank you very much for your time. It was a pleasure talking to you, and enjoy the rest of IFA in Berlin.
Thank you so much.